Hey, happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to another Chamber Check-In episode from Idaho's only five-star chamber. Today, we get to hear from Laura Bixby and Patrick McDaniel from Comparion Insurance. Hi, Laura. Hi, Pat.
Hello.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, thanks for taking some time with me today to help share the Comparion Insurance Agency. And we get to meet you. And what I love about these chamber check-ins is there's an opportunity to learn about local chamber member businesses, their products and services, but most importantly, the people. And so, why don't we start with that, Pat? Will you introduce yourself and kind of share a little bit about your background and history of work that led you into the insurance industry?
Sure. Well, I'm Pat McDaniel, and I'm an Idaho native. I guess a little bit about my background in insurance, how I got into insurance. I went to college in California, and I was living down there. And man, I wanted to come back home. And so when I came back home, I was looking for jobs, and I actually just by chance ended up with Liberty Mutual Insurance. And that was 29 years ago, Paul. So a long, long time ago. I
Wow.
think initially I didn't realize what I was getting into. I was a younger guy and I was trying to kind of understand the industry. But over the years and finding out all the powerful things that insurance can provide for people, I've just been really, really fortunate to have been with a great company for such a long time period. And, now transitioning into Comparion Insurance Agency. So it's been quite a ride. I'm married. I live in Boise. I have 3 kids and 2 dogs, and that's a little bit about me.
Wow, 29 years in the industry. Okay. What's your role, Pat, with
Oh,
Comparion?
yeah, I'm a sales manager. I was a producer for 8 years, and then I had an opportunity to move into a manager role. And I had a couple of different manager roles. One that I did kind of a sales only manager role, and then I did sales and service management at the same time. And now I'm back in kind of a sales manager only role.
Okay, cool. Hey, thanks for bringing us up to speed. Laura.
Hi. Yeah, so I also a Idaho native, born and raised here in Nampa, and then grew up in what I would consider Washington County. So Weiser, Cambridge area, farm kid, the cows and horses, and didn't want to be a farmer, didn't want to marry one when I graduated in 2002. So moved to the big city of Boise back then, and I've been in the insurance world for about a year. So started with just my life insurance license, and then honestly, like because of just how Idaho loves to network and connect good people with other good people. A dear friend of mine introduced me to a gentleman who works for Comparion only in our Idaho Falls office. And so that's how I found the opportunity here with the company, and got my property and casualty license to help people out with the home and auto side. And it's been great. I am also married to two. Well, actually, I just adopted another dog. So I actually can say now I have 3 dogs and live in Eagle. And I really just enjoy our community and just everything that, Idaho as a state has to offer. So lots of great ways to adventure and enjoy the outdoors, and also the city at the same time.
Wow, Laura, thanks for giving us a little bit about your background. Two powerhouses here, both from Idaho, offering the good stuff. So between the two of you, and I think we'll start maybe with Pat, tell us a little bit about the origin story of Comparion. And I'd love for you to share how many states the agency serves. And then Laura, when I get to you, I would love for you to kind of dive deeper into some of the products that are offered.
Okay, well, so the Comparion Insurance Agency's story starts with Liberty Mutual. So Liberty Mutual is a Fortune 100 company, large carrier, but for many, many years, well, since 1912, Liberty was around and it serves all the whole country. All 50 states. You can find Liberty Mutual products in one way or another. across the entire country. In fact, global as well, right? So we're in a number of other countries as well. So it's a large insurance company. So, I've been around, again, I told you, for a long time, nearly 30 years. And a couple, 2, 3 years ago, as the market started to shift, these direct writers, Liberty Mutual being one of them, had the opportunity to sort of consider, hey, we have great customers, we really like helping them out, but maybe at times our product is not the best fit. And are there other carriers out there, they're A-rated, top-rated carriers that we could partner with that could help out our customers? And so that was the kind of the birthplace, the idea of Comparion Insurance Agency. And they made that shift. They took my department, about 2,000 employees, and moved them to the insurance agency known now as Comparion Insurance Agency. And the little bit of background on that is it's a mix between, Comparion. People are like, what's that mean? But it's the brainchild of our founder, the president of the company, was Comparion was the combination of the word comparison and companion. And so, when you think about those two terms, companion, you want to have a good companion, kind of good relationship with your insurance agency, and you also want to compare. And that was sort of what we were offering. We were coming from that direct writer world where you took what we could give you, and if it didn't work, you went to another carrier. But now we had these options. We could compare and determine what's going to be the best for our customer. So that was how Comparion Insurance Agency started to roll out. And as of January 1st, I think we had it was kind of a structured rollout, but as of January 1st of 2023, all of the employees that were in my department are now Comparion Insurance Agency employees.
So relatively new.
I say Comparion Insurance Agency as a company and out there listed in the market, we're new. We are. I would say that we still have folks, I have an agent in Idaho Falls who's been with Liberty Mutual for 25 years, just about as long as me. But so we, those of us who have been around a while, I'm sitting in the same desk and the name changed on the door. And honestly, kind of the consultation we give the customer, that hasn't changed. But we're new in name and new in the ability to be able to offer multiple companies to our customers.
I love it. Insurance is always one of those things that you really have to dive in to learn more. And so let's bring Laura on to help us understand some of the breadth of services that are offered.
Yeah, absolutely. So, people ask like, well, what kind of insurance can you offer? And I like to tell people in a nutshell, if you love it, we can protect it, anywhere from your, home and auto all the way down to the cat, your life insurance, umbrella policies are another really big thing for us. So, so when it comes to, Comparion, it's, when we're working with someone, of course, we have Liberty Mutual as our premier carrier. But like Pat said, sometimes, we can just see like it's not the greatest fit for who we're sitting down with. And we do take a consultative approach to understand exactly what this person needs, what they're looking for. Insurance is not cookie cutter. And launching them into our choice carriers, where we can ensure, we're looking at, quality coverage, where we're not going to compromise on that, but also finding the best rate, which is super important in today's market, especially, which I think Pat will touch base on later. So, anyone that has, home, renters, landlord policies, right now there's a lot of people that are finding themselves as accidental landlords because, they have this home and they want to move, but they don't want to sell it. So they're like, I guess I'm going to rent it out. How does insurance work with that? So being able to help them navigate those waters. Idaho, we're known for our outdoor scene. And so toys are another big thing, your razors, your camper, boats, motorcycles, snowmobiles. all of those things. We have several carriers that we can write people with. We also have an awesome carrier that does the really weird things like a yurt out in Loman, or so we have a variety of different ways that we can help people protect the things that they worked hard for and that they're proud of, and just giving them that peace of mind.
I love it. Thank you, Laura. Yeah, I never think about pet insurance, but you mentioned the cat, and we've had animals, but we just have a brand new puppy. Help me understand this a little bit. Selfish here. I want to know about pet coverage. Tell me a little bit about that. Is that expanding across all insurance companies, or is this something that only Comparion offers? Help me understand.
No, there's options out there for pet insurance, and it still is, relatively a new concept for people, but we love our animals. I love all three of my dogs, and sometimes animals, they do have things that happen where you're constantly going into the vet. And so with pet insurance, there's different levels of coverage. So you can have more of, just the accidental, like I have a bird hunting dog and my husband takes him out to the Owyhees and he's jumping all over all sorts of things. It's like, what if he broke a leg? Having that insurance in place there where it works similar to your health insurance, where you have a copay and then, they pay up to, this amount of money, they're in place. And then there's another tier that offers like accident and illness, our animals also get sick, and being able to, provide quality medical care for them without having to dip into our savings just gives people a peace of mind. And then the third tier just encompasses all of those options, plus wellness checks and those other things too, to help on the preventative side as well. So, our fur kids are, our world at times and are of all the time. And so it's just a great way to help, expand that level of, protection. Like we look at insurance, like it's the layers of the onion, like the family, the household is the center. And there's all sorts of different things that we need to protect. And there's different products and ways to go about that. It's not just like a one solution. So we're really excited to have multiple ways of helping people out.
Awesome, Laura. Thanks for helping educate me on pet insurance.
Yeah.
I think my next question is for every business, there's this 80-20 rule, right? In the grocery business, 80% of your sales came from 20% of your product. And then maybe Pat, you can expand on Comparion if that kind of rings true, and for the insurance companies, as well as, is there anything that Comparion specializes in?
I think that, and for me, I'll just say this, Paul, that, every customer is different. So I think that as we're approaching a customer, and I think that's one of the values of Comparion, is the fact that when we have, not every customer has a yurt, not every customer has a cat, not every customer owns an RV or uses a snowmobile or motorcycles. And so, our ability, I think one of the things that we really try to do differently to be good ambassadors of the insurance industry is, we're going to try to fit with the customer what they need from a coverage standpoint. We'll certainly care about price. We certainly want to try to help them save money if possible, but making sure that they have the right coverage and peace of mind is really, really important. So I would say that we just don't have I think, Laura says it, every customer is kind of a different onion. And she's used that analogy before, where there's just different layers to each person. And so I would say if we specialize in anything, it's that we're not a one size fits all type of coverage. And people, Laura talked about it, people love things a little bit differently, right? So if they have a snowmobile and that's their thing, they love that and they have customization on it. And so when we're asking them questions about that, we need to make sure we aren't just giving them coverage for just a snowmobile at a price. We want to make sure, do you have, accessories that go with that? Do you have customization that goes with that? Same thing with houses. Houses, especially in this current market, with the housing market going way up and different, the values being sort of, all over the board. We really want to make sure that we're asking the questions to help a person insure their home 100% to value. That's really, really important. So I would say maybe we don't stick, in answering your question, we don't go towards one coverage specifically, but we really want to make sure that the customer knows, like, we're going to try to make sure you're insured 100% to value for the thing you care about the most. And that is going to be a little different because there are going to be carriers out there that are very cost conscious and they want to get you in and get you out real quick. It's transactional. And we're not like that. We want to give people good information and consultation on the things that they really, really love, even if they don't buy from us. I would say that's another thing. Like our group talks about it. Like if you have a customer come in and talk to you and we aren't the right fit, but we can still give them good information, that's what we should do. And that's what we do. And so, ultimately people will remember that. They may not become a customer right away, but at some point they'll come back to us. And so, that's over the years, that's one thing that I know is very, very important to folks. And so I would say if there's something I'm proud of that we specialize in, it's that. We're going to help people. We're going to give them good information, whether they buy or not.
I love that, Pat. Genuineness is a thing that we all should be practicing, and offering information that's credible is something that's a kind of a lost art. And so I'm glad that you stand behind that. And I love the way you wrap that around as well. We just have a few more minutes, and I would love for you both to just have the opportunity to share something else that would help educate the public, either on insurance or Comparion or something that's relevant in the market. So maybe let's start with you, Laura.
Educational. We sit down with a lot of people and they're like, I have home coverage, I have auto coverage. And it's just in their mind, like it checks a box, right? They know that they have it. They know that they can't get a ticket if they got pulled over. But they don't understand exactly how that shows up for them, in situations. And so for us, like what Pat said, it is encouraging people, or not encouraging, but educating people on, how do these coverages really protect you? And I can't say that I'm passionate about insurance necessarily, but I am passionate about what insurance actually does for people, right? And so everyone's worked really hard to, earn that down payment that they put on their house, and they worked really hard to pay that car off. They worked really hard to save the money to buy the dog that they've always wanted, whatever it is. If it's just unfortunate when people will have these unforeseen events happen, and then they find in hindsight, I wasn't properly protected. And when those times happen, it's their equity in their house that's on the line. It's the 401k balance that they've built. It's the savings account that they have. Those are the things that are going to pay for the gap, if you will, from what their current liability, what their current coverage actually offers, and what they should have had. And so for us, it kind of like Pat touched base on it, we really look at insurance and the connections that we're making with people as building a relationship. Everyone should have a relationship with their agent that takes the time to have these conversations. And because it's really not something that's transactional, because of how important it is and because of how valuable and how much it does impact your life. So it's more of like what we do, like what it actually does for someone, not just like, oh, I'm writing you a home policy.
I love that, Laura. That's a great way to explain that. Pat, a couple minutes for your closing remarks.
Yeah. Well, I think that about the current market, right? So I will say that right now the industry is somewhat challenged. I mean, if you go and look on insurance news, you'll find that carriers are having profit challenges right now. And a lot of that has to do with inflation, right? And so just an example would be, the cost of a bumper on a car used to be, the actuarial folks could say, oh, that's about $1,000-ish, right? Well, now with sensors on every corner, and all of a sudden that isn't 1,000, it's 2,000 or 3,000. It's very expensive. And then you throw in kind of our current economy and maybe sort of supply chain issues and sort of the labor issues. So I would just tell folks, right now they're probably seeing rate increases, and that's happening. And that's kind of one of the reasons why those inflationary pressures, those labor pressures to fix houses and cars, right? All of it. But it brings up a good time as they're seeing those rate changes. They should have a consultation to make sure, do I have adequate coverage on my vehicles and any customizations that I have on those vehicles to make sure that they're properly covered the way I would want them. A house is a good example, right? You want to make sure that your current coverage on your home insurance is adequate to be 100% insured to value. The last thing anybody wants is, of total loss, and then have us have not the right amount of coverage to make sure that you're protected fully. So it's a good time to sort of review your policies, but just be aware that, you'll see some rate changes at these times, right? Because of the current market conditions. So there's that. But again, I'll just circle back around to what Laura said, the relationship piece of it. We want to be able to talk to folks about these things and help them understand it. And we're going to do that for our customers, as well as those folks that just want to get get the knowledge from us.
Wow. What a great bunch of information from you both. And I would encourage anyone who's watching to give Laura or Pat a call. I'm going to put your website that's scrolling on the bottom of the screen. I know it's the national website, but I think you could probably drill in and get to the Boise team. Yeah. It's comparioninsurance.com. There's lots of great information on there, the story, the history. And Pat and Laura, thank you so much for your investment in the chamber. Thank you for your investment in the community. And have a great weekend.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Paul.
And everybody have a great weekend.